Welcome to Dexter New Blood Hootis. This episode we covered Smoke Signals, which was the latest Dexter show, and it's a really interesting one. I don't know how, if you're a fan of old Dexter, I don't know how at this point you're not a fan of new Dexter, because we got a lot of character development going on, a lot of stories. I mean, he has begun the cycle. It is in like full swing, and he's back to being old Dexter in a super new environment.
Yeah, absolutely. This one feels the most like old Dexter from beginning to end as far as the episode goes, but I think that's because he's getting back into the swing of things. Although in this episode he starts to question: is he one and done? Is he going to be doing this more? I mean, he goes through a whole lot of issues trying to figure out where he's gonna how is he gonna properly dispose of the body now that seems to have not been the way he did it. Didn't seem to work, so.
Yeah, this is a really interesting one. We're super glued to it, so we're gonna keep on trekking. We're really into this show. And I think it's all due to really great acting, really interesting storyline, a lot of new stuff coming through. It's not exactly the same old Dexter, but you see him trying to get his pattern back. He's trying to get his routine, his rhythm. But like Marsh just said, he's not too sure. He's not sure if he should, if he wants to. Questions. I'm going to be a good father. Is that really true though? Right?
Yeah. And this one, we're going to be doing a little new of a format. The last one we did kind of a once-over of episodes 1 and 2 to get kind of caught up. What we're doing now is basically we're watching it with a live mic, and as things are coming up and occurring to us, we're recording it. So it's a little bit more linear in the output moving forward.
Yeah. So the first part of Dexter New Blood, there was this moment where he comes into the police station, and the receptionist said, oh yeah, we got footage of that dude on camera, and Dexter just freaks out saying, footage? Camera? What? This could just be a tease to get your heart race up.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is, especially because, so the lady says that there's cameras in the wilderness. Goes, who knew? And he goes, I sure didn't. Which, from an electronic standpoint, really begs the question of how it's plugged in. Is it all battery operated? Is it all Wi-Fi? We'll see how that comes about. I don't know if that means that there's little drones flying around. Wouldn't seem so. But I don't know a whole lot of battery operated, intensely Wi-Fi. I mean, Wi-Fi is not a great science. It's because it's limited. So you'd have to put all these repeaters to get Wi-Fi to get back to a hard drive. So either way, I don't know where they're going with it. And I wonder if this is just a whole nother mechanism of he's caught. And then the girlfriend's like, I need to talk to you. And then it's another one like, where do you want to go for lunch? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the first scene was indeed a mechanism to just get us hyped up of, oh, Dexter's about to get caught. And he had the same dialogue he had in original Dexter. There was I forget exactly which season it was, but there was a moment where he said, oh great, he came into the office and he was like, oh great, I'm gonna be taken down by Masuka, so I completely connected with that, because I was like, oh, like it immediately reminded me of old Dexter. But I thought this is really interesting because this shows that he is in new territory. He doesn't know the environment the way that, of course, he knew Miami. So this is really interesting because he's learning all about, oh shit, I didn't know about the woods. I didn't know about infrared camera, footage. So this is really interesting new development.
It also shows that Dexter still sees himself as better than and smarter than, because the idea of these are the fools that are going to take me down.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are the goofs that are going to take down the great mighty Dexter Bay Harbor Butcher. Like,
Zoologist.
yeah, a damn zoologist and some podunk sheriffs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
So.
I like that too. Because even like you said, the comfort he had growing up in Miami gave him a sense of being better than on top of everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Here he is being sloppy. Still thinks he's like, well, I'm still so much better than everyone else. I can afford to be a little sloppy.
Well, but this is wilderness. This is a whole new game. Yes, he's been here for 10 years, but that doesn't mean that he knows it in the sense of being a hunter, right?
Yeah.
He hasn't been a hunter in so long, so this is completely new, and I think it's really interesting.
I love that the video surveillance turned out to be animal tracking.
Yeah.
So it was all heat sourced. Because, they played into it so well, too. The guy being frustrated. Why are there blind spots? Because we're tracking animals. We're not...
Yeah, we're not tracking killers.
Yeah, we're not... It's not surveillance. It's to make sure we know where the animals are. You know what I mean? Like, because they're protected. They're on protected land. You know what I mean? So,
yep.
Which also would explain why it's not a bunch of fucking webcams out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Love it making sense. So the scene where Harrison is at school and he realizes, his new buddies are actually bullies, and he kind of figures it out, and he's like, man, that's fucked up. And the guys are like, oh yeah, man, it's really fucked up. They're not getting it. But I'm wondering if this is going to make Harrison, maybe he'll start getting some little complex of, oh, this guy needs to be rescued. This guy needs to be saved from these bullies. I'm just wondering if there's going to be a theme of like father, like son.
You think Dexter thinks he's saving people?
Yes, he totally is. Like you just said, he had a god complex. He is, because in original Dexter, there was the end of, I forget which season, but there's the end of it where, he's with Rita, his new family, and people are cheering him. He has this fantasy of he is rescuing these people from these horrible criminals. And so I'm wondering if that theme is going to come about with Harrison being like, oh, this kid is getting bullied. He needs to get rescued. This hero sense of superiority, I guess.
I feel like that Dexter's so much on vengeance and not protective. You know what I mean? Like, he's protecting people through revenge. It's like after the fact. He needs a solid victim. He needs something to warrant death, and the only thing that warrants death is other death most of the time. So it would be interesting to see a developing Harrison struggle with the idea of what's too far. How do I stop that? How do I stop more of it from happening again? I could see that.
Yeah. I mean, I just theory, but I thought that was really interesting. Oh my god. Okay, so we just saw the scene where Dexter's girlfriend is saying, wow, confiding in him, saying, I can't believe I was about to call this search off. What am I thinking? I'm being a bad cop. And Dexter says, no, you're doing your job. You're a great cop. And I just turned to Marsh and said, this is completely like Deb. It's like Deb and Dexter back in original Dexter, because early Deb was always doubting herself, never thought she was a good enough cop. And then it was always Dexter's, building her up, saying, no, you've got this, and that internal monologue of when she asks, what was I thinking? And internal monologue says, oh, exactly what I wanted you to think. Like, you're playing into my hand. It's just a cycle that's repeating, clearly.
Yeah, it's very Deb-esque in that regard. Which, so when you think about it too, Deb, in what was it, season 5 or 6, believes she's falling in love with Dexter.
Yes.
Romantically. Mm-hmm. What a weird play on it to have the biggest loss in Dexter's life be Deb, and in a very Freudian way start dating someone who he can unfortunately manipulate similarly, has a very similar mindset, has very similar goals in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I said that the first episode, right? I said she looks like Deb. She's very, and obviously she's, a cop. Like she's a chief of police. But, I just thought right off the bat, those similarities right there are like just way too close for me. And it's really developing just in the script itself. So this is really interesting. That scene where Dexter meets the blood analyst at his own crime scene was really great because you see him frustrated, thinking at first, oh, let's see how good this guy is. And the guy like drops some of his equipment. He's like, oh, great, this guy's sloppy. This is gonna be a piece of cake. Let's see how it goes.
They made him overly goofy, which I loved.
Yeah,
because it's all like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm here to do what I do. And so Dexter's all like, okay,
cool,
Tweedledee, this is gonna be great.
Yeah, and until of course the dude does exactly what Dexter said. It says internally what he would have done. He plays out exactly what happened just by the blood alone, and then you see Dexter kind of frustrated and almost angry, just like, damn it, I've gotten rusty. And he says that, and it's just this great moment of, oh shit, I am not as sharp as I used to be.
I love that they had him in all the goofiness of everything he was doing, and even the way that the blood analyst was like describing what he was doing was not as eloquent necessarily as Dexter. But once they asked him point blank, what do you think happened here? He went into a Dexter monologue of reading the blood and then finding the one thing missing. The same way Dexter did in all the other ones where it's like, oh, this happened, this is like, which would mean that there'd be something over there. Here's your bullet or whatever it was,
Yeah.
Incredible. And then like just the slow pan in on Dexter and
yeah.
I'm sloppy in my abstinence. So good.
I love this build of, oh shit, is he gonna say it? And then the guy says, yep, we're looking at foul play. And he's like, oh, I love that.
I do think it's a little bit weird that they allowed
the dad
concept of Dexter and dad, because Dexter's only there because he, quote, really likes the CSI shows.
Yes.
And the dad is there because
it's his son,
which would mean that he would have a very clouded judgment. So I would think that from an investigating standpoint, you'd go, okay, well, we don't need cosplayer CSIs around. And we don't need emotional dads around. Like, you would think you would not want them around.
Yeah, but we're also dealing with new chief of police, young chief of police, not very sure of herself. So she's going to try to ruffle as few feathers as possible.
And I think it's just indicative of how small the town is and how tight-knit it is.
Yeah.
It's just another one of those things of like, hey, everyone can be a part of it. And the analyst said stay outside of the crime scene, and they did tape it off and have stood on the other side of the tape. And so, I mean, I get all that, but there was a little bit of me that was kind of like, would you really want them there? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So my first question when Dexter goes back to the cabin was, how is he going to move the body? Because he's got search dogs coming the following morning. How is he going to move the body with Harrison staying there? And of course, he looks in Harrison's room. Harrison's asleep. And I'm just thinking, oh man, when is that moment going to happen where Harrison catches him doing something Dexter-like?
I also don't know if I buy into this dog business.
Okay.
He fucking put the body underneath a bunch of stones of fire and have been burning it every day for a week. Is the dog really gonna be able to smell?
I don't know.
Underneath there?
I
mean, maybe. I don't know about dogs.
They're trained to smell. I would think that they pick everything up, but I don't know.
But I would think that if you're burning it, it's because you're fucking up the smell of stuff and the condition of it. Well, then again, we showed before, like, it was super preserved for some weird reason, but like,
yeah. Yeah.
Like, even with, I think, drug dogs, one of the things that people will do is mask the smell with other things.
Mm.
You know?
Okay.
It just seems weird. I just don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I just don't know. But it just seemed to me like, oh, the dog's going to go straight to the fire pit. And then people are going to be like, oh, clearly there's a body here. Let's dig up the fire pit. It just seems like it would be a lot more convoluted than that. But maybe not.
And then my next question is like, okay, what the hell is he going to do with his body? I mean, again, new territory. Territory he does not know. There's no ocean like there was in Miami. He knows all the, all the different routes that the water is going to go. Like, he doesn't know as much as he thought he knew.
Yeah, I mean, at first he insinuated he was going to drop it in his fishing hole.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's kind of like, where would you drop it if not in the lake? And then now you're dropping bags of bodies in the lake. Like, it seems more possible of finding that than it would in the Bay Harbor. And even then, well, I guess, right, he put rocks on it so it would sink to the bottom?
Yeah.
Is the town big enough to have water surveillance, like the radar stuff?
Yeah,
because the boats with radar will go through and they'll be like, oh, look, there's a collection of shit down here, we should look at it. I don't know.
Yeah,
definitely complicates things.
Yeah. So there was a really interesting segue of stories happening. So there is this woman, this young girl who's trapped in a room, and we see her hunter, whoever it is controlling that environment. He puts on his hunting gear and then lets her free. So she comes out of the basement. She's running out into the wilderness, and he just puts a target on her and he kills her. And then at the same time, you hear Dexter's inner monologue saying, "Oh, I wouldn't want to be prey out here. Hunters get up too early." As he's trying to get the scent all over the crime scene, right?
Yeah, he's trying to confuse the dogs by he dug up the body, pulled the jacket off the body to get the smell of dead, so he can put that all over the crime scene and lead the crime scene over to the highway to basically further his story that he went to the highway and left. The thing I don't get, and it's probably just because I'm not some kind of a killer, like, I understand the book The Dangerous Game, where people hunt people because every other animal is not as conniving or clever as a human, so the idea of hunting humans is more of a thrill for, those people in those stories, right? And so, that's what this is. That woman in the room was the woman from the hotel that we thought it was a hotel.
Yeah.
So it's a basement in a thing that's designed to look like a hotel, which is kind of interesting. But he lets her out, and by the time she even gets out, he's already sitting on the porch with a gun ready to go. And so she just runs straight and he just shoots her. Like, does that really feel like the thrill of the hunt? You know what I mean? Like, The Dangerous Game was about releasing them into the wild and giving them a head start and then tracking them.
But I think in that sense, the whole idea is control. So I think back to original Dexter. I remember there was this one serial killer who has an entire maze set up in his house, right? And he gets a woman, he roofies her, and then he lets her go into his maze, right? And then he's running after her. But of course, it's a controlled environment, so he knows she's not going to make it out, more or less. So I feel like I get what you're saying, but in his mind, I could see him being like, well, you're not going to get far, which it's still the same kind of like, oh my God, like you just want a victim. You don't care who it is, or, this blind sense of just control, I guess.
Yeah. It almost just feels like he just wants to use his gun.
Yeah.
And I bet you that's like not it, but it's like, but that's what it feels like when it's all like, oh, I'm going to keep this person trapped, get them weak, get them slow, get them desperate, then let them out. And I'm going to use my cool gun with my cool laser sight and shoot them within seconds. It's kind of like, you like shooting things from 200 feet away? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just weird. But like I said, I guess I don't murder enough to have a good grasp on why that's exciting.
Well, and the in original Dexter, that serial killer I'm thinking of, I remember he, right when he was gonna let this woman go into his maze and she had no idea what was happening. I remember him being like, oh, I like I'm strong. She's like, what are you talking about? And then, then that's when he tries to attack her and she runs, so it's kind of just like, I guess it's weird hunter's prerogative.
But that dude liked the fight, and the traps were all set to lure them into a battle that was going to be basically that he had the advantage of.
Yeah.
But he liked the struggle. He needed to win, but he liked the struggle. Just like with the hunting of people by giving them a head start, it's an island in Dangerous Game. So you're not getting off. You're going to be found.
Yeah.
And I'm going to kill you. I need the advantage because I have to win, but the struggle is what makes it interesting. There was no struggle here, and that's to me, it's like, what part of this is even interesting to that guy? And the only thing I got is like, well, he likes to put on his mask and shoot a powerful gun. That's all I can feel like.
Yeah, he put his mask and his jacket. So I don't know where. I mean, if it's something he does after the fact, I don't know. But I do think it's interesting because we're already seeing this new villain be built up, right? Because obviously Dexter has to have more villains because he's the hero in this scenario, in all his scenarios.
Oh, for sure. And right now Dexter's almost the villain,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So they have to balance that out with a new scary character, and this is definitely one of them.
Yeah. This dude, yeah.
When new viewers are watching this, I can't imagine that they don't see all these similarities from new Dexter to old Dexter, because at this point his cycle has already begun and we've gotten started. We're ramping up and he's so similar to old Dexter.
Yeah, and it's got all the teases of old Dexter with the new environment. And I think that realistically the first couple episodes were designed by production to feel like this isn't Dexter, because as viewers, we're also going through character development that he's going through, where things don't feel right. Things feel awkward. It doesn't quite seem like I'm used to this being. Why are things different? Why is this weird? We're going through the same emotions as Dexter. We're on Dexter's ride here.
Yeah, and another similarity I just thought of, Harrison is in some aspects similar to Deb in that, she was clueless for a very long time about Dexter's, whole other life, his serial killer life. So I think Harrison kind of does play that role in that he has no idea. He's just getting acquainted with his dad, right? Which is new. But I think there's also hope, I'm sure, going to be that fear of, oh my God, what's going to happen if Harrison finds out? That whole dialogue he used to have with himself of what's going to happen when Deb finds out, I think is also what we're going to be seeing too.
Yeah. And ultimately they also answered the question of the body under the fire. Like, I couldn't understand how the fire was not destroying the body, or if he dug up the whole fire pit. Turns out it's just to the left of the fire pit or whatever. Like, just on the outside of the fire pit he buried it, which makes it even weirder to me. Like, when it's right there, I was like, well, why didn't you dig up the fire pit and burn it there? Like,
he's not thinking that this town is going to be as sophisticated as apparently they are.
Yeah, but it did afford him the opportunity to get the jacket out of the remains to be able to do this. So it's like, but he is preserving the stuff at this point, and it's, I don't know, that's really weird to me.
Yeah. All right, so Marsh is pretty convinced that the hunter with the mask that just killed this girl is the dad of Dexter's victim, which would be pretty interesting because then you've got a crossover of stories there.
Yeah, 100%. That's him. I know they're zooming in on his eyes with the mask on. That shape of his head is, to me, super definable. Definitable. There's just, I'm just convinced. I mean, I look at his eyes, I look at the shape of his head. You can see his cheeks, you can see the big chin with a little bit of fuzz on the end because it's almost too rounded. Like, I'm telling you, that's the dad, this motherfucker. And plus, it would make sense Because the kid is crazy and wants to do these crazy things and was
true.
obsessed with hunting. I feel like if we went back, we would find little tidbits about him talking about his dad being a hunter of some sort.
He did. I do remember when he was on Dexter's table, he said, "Oh, my dad, he never paid attention to me." And Dexter said, "Oh, well, you're blaming this on bad parenting." So that would lead to, oh, okay, maybe this guy's nuts, clearly. But I also thought it was super creepy. He puts the record on, and then after he kills her, he kind of just closes his eyes like he's breathing in his success, and it was just super creepy.
Yeah, it feels so good.
I mean, it's almost similar to the moment that Dexter has right after he sticks someone with the knife.
Yeah.
And he kind of just breathes it in. He's like, okay, that's done. I'm
Yeah.
dark passenger.
It's him, though. I'm telling you, that's the dad. That's the dad.
Okay.
Just end of story. That's the dad. You guys can wrap it up. We all go home.
Okay.
Nailed it.
All right.
We got it.
Okay. So I did want to say that the old man hunter is now embalming this young woman that he shot, right? He shot her in the back with his rifle. And it's just like insane because we have no idea where this is going. Like, so this is his thing? He likes shooting someone easily, right? That he captures and drugs, roofies, and then embalms her? Like, I'm so confused by this.
Yeah, he would have to either have that kind of setup in his house or be like the town morgue.
More, right?
Like, and if it is the same dude who does both, then yeah, what better cover than you bring in your own dead body, take care of it like you would all the other ones. It fills one of your shelves. You're the only one who works there. It's a small town. Who's gonna know that the shelf is filled with a bunch of people that?
And that was the girl that was just passing through, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just wild.
And not positive if it's directly related or not, but while he is embalming the girl, his victim, he's playing the Everly Brothers, and which is obviously the real old timey music, and it pans over to folded pajamas. This may or may not be relevant to Trinity, who was doing the same thing when he would kill the child in his scenario, but he was playing Frankie Avalon, so it's different, but I guess I could see how it's similar. Just a thought. Not sure if it's meant to be a nod to Trinity or not, though.
The scene where Dexter is just coming out of a long night, right? He's been running around the woods, and then he has to do an interview with the cop, who he didn't think much of, but this cop gets kind of serious in the interview. He's like, "Oh, I got to do this for everyone. I know you, but we got some questions." And there were some moments when I was thinking, does this cop believe Dexter, or is he like Dokes and he sees right through him? Because I got hints of that when he was staring at him.
And I couldn't tell if that was Dexter's perception or the guy's actual.
Yes.
Because we see it a lot through Dexter's eyes,
Yep.
So part of me was all like, does Dexter think this guy's onto him, or is this guy actually seeming to be kind of onto him?
Yeah. These cuts that they're making are really smart and really, really making you question what it is that is reality. Like, are you seeing reality, or are you seeing what he thinks?
Yeah.
Right? Because he's still in unfamiliar territory. He doesn't really know these people from, their work side, because he's not in that cop environment. So he doesn't know how good they are at their jobs, essentially. He's already learned that their blood analyst that they brought in from another town is excellent. Mm-hmm. So what's to say that this cop isn't actually really good at his job?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I forget his name, but... One thing I thought should probably be of note is Deb's character has definitely changed in this episode. Unlike the last two episodes where she was terrifying, basically just terrorizing him. In this one, she was much more calm.
Almost comic, almost cartoonish. When they're going through trying to figure out how they're going to dispose of the body, she's like, "I've got ideas."
Yes.
And she goes full on Fargo.
Yeah. That
And
was
it's
gross.
just such a violent scene, and she's sitting there kicking her foot up and smiling and hands out like, yay!
Yeah.
And, Dexter even makes a comment about Fargo.
Yeah.
But, yeah, she definitely was not the terrorizing force. She was definitely more snide in the comments that she was making, but she was also trying to help him almost. Like, well, all right, well, let's figure it out. Like, she's part of the brain trust. And so it was 100% different than what we saw in the last one, where she was just terrorizing him, trying to forcefully get him to stop. So it's almost like her character, her inner voice of him, is also semi-schizophrenic.
Yeah. I mean, I think in this one, I kind of got the vibe that she's much more like tied or mirroring his conscience, where he's talking to himself, not necessarily to Deb, right? Because obviously this is not Deb, old Deb character, but this is new Deb, where the last episode, it seems like he was really fighting with himself on, oh my God, this is happening. I'm breaking this, I haven't done this in 10 years. This is a really huge thing for me. And at this point, he's past that. He's so far past that he's just so stuck on logistics at this point, where Deb is no longer a hurdle. She is now an ally, right?
Yeah, at least for now. We'll see. I also really enjoyed the addition of putting a true crime podcaster in it.
Yeah.
I want to see where that goes. But yeah, the idea that she shows up, she was, even in her boots, seemed a little bit like those were not hiking boots. Those were red carpet boots.
Fashion.
You know what I mean? Very
right.
fashion forward.
Right. That character's, yeah. I'm sure she's going to play a big role.
Yeah, and she was already sensationalizing what was happening around. It's like, oh, local heartthrob, this and that. And she's like, what? Are you like a fan of his? And she's all like, no. And then, oh, go talk to that cop over there. Oh, he's a bunch of muscle. Like, oh, what? He's cute. And it's like she's sensationalizing just the world around her because she's going to need to podcast about it and put a spin on it.
Yeah. Neat new character.
I'm really curious about the father right now, going through and saying that he FaceTimed with his son. Yeah. I mean, and Dexter even said it out internally, but out loud to us, that why would he be pretending that he did that? What is he trying to hide? At that point, if he's trying to end the search, there's got to be something that the father wants to hide and put away. And what is that going to be?
Well, your theory is that he killed that young woman. Maybe if he is that hunter that killed a young woman and embalmed her, is that somehow connected to his son, and he wants to just get the police away from the town?
True. If their search is getting closer and closer to where he does what he does, then at some point they could stumble upon his little house of horrors, as it were. So,
but yeah,
go ahead.
Well, the cop's daughter and Harrison, I'm sorry for her name, they were having some road trouble, so Harrison goes to go get help, right, make a call, and then we see the old tycoon, the rich dude, oil tycoon roll on by, and he has some words with the daughter, and I thought that he could have been the one that the killer of the young woman. Because he's super creepy, and I'm like confused as why he keeps popping up. So,
yeah. And he came off real creepy too, with like, "Hey, come sit in my car with me." Like, "Oh, do you want me to give you a ride?" Like he was insistent on getting her alone with him, even though she said, "My friend's making a quick phone call up the way."
Yeah,
it came off super creepy, but I don't know. My gut tells me that that's a red herring. That he's creepy for other reasons, and the person who's out there shooting and murdering is the dad.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to continue on with this mystery. Thank you for listening to Dexter New Blood Who Dis podcast. Please like, subscribe, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you have any other theories, because we're just super interested in the show, and want to connect with other fans. So yeah, Continue to follow us, continue to watch, and we will be back next week.
You can find us on Twitter at WOTR The Show, because this is a sister show to Wrestling on the Rocks. I can be found at Ref Marsh on Twitter as well. Feel free to comment to us directly about how dumb we are for missing the obvious if you find something that we did not pick up on.
Yeah, this is Michelle, producer lady of Wrestling on the Rocks, and the one who wanted to do Dexter podcast.
Cheers.
Bye.